DJ PK and Kevin Graham joins us once again to talk football. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Although it doesn't sound like it's really happy along the Wasatch Front these days. But, hey, that's what college football do to you. And, by the way, PK, yes, Scott Mitchell would throw you, but there's a high percentage chance that you would be intercepted. So just saying.
Oh.
Okay. But bump. All right. Yeah. Happy New Year.
I hope he sees you and commits a targeting violation.
Kevin's head snapping back.
With his bare hands.
There'd be a pretty good chance of that, actually. Thank you. Woohoo! I'll be here all day. All right. Yeah.
Kevin, there is a lot going on here about, Kyle Whittingham. He said he was going to retire. Well, he should get to pick when he retires. Well, okay, but he talked about it, and we were going to lose Morgan. And then, okay, well, Kyle, now you're out. Now you're going to Michigan to take all your guys, but you were going to leave the team in a good spot. So the truth is, it's business. People are getting paid a lot of money. Yep. People, if they don't win, get fired. And it has been down and dirty inside the family before. Kalani Sitake wasn't given an extension when the team went back-to-back 5-7s. And, you can't blame Kalani if he's thinking, the defense is great, the offense can't score points, we don't have a quarterback, that's the problem. What are you threatening my job for, right? All of a sudden, all the family stuff, I don't think Kalani felt great about that, and that's why he went to Oregon State. And A-Rod literally got fired by Kyle inside the family. Boom!
Yeah.
So there are multiple experiences with this, and you are the perfect person to talk about this because there were a lot of us 25 years ago, who were doing radio together, and you left. I'm in this chair because you left. I got to do morning drive radio because you took a job in another market, and you took people with you. And there was a group of people. It was you, and it was Ian Furness. It was John Lund. David Locke left the market, but he did return. Tim Benz. Yes, who was busy trying to get Tomlin fired now. And and he's really working at it. And Ryan Hatch. Now, you worked with these people in different places a second or third time, and sometimes it got difficult and people got let go. Do you want to explain to people the positives of working in the quote-unquote family situation? It's not a total lie. There is some truth to it. But at the same time, it's still a business, and there's truth to that too. And when they collide, it gets ugly. And I just think Ute fans are sitting in a place watching this go down, and you're like, I've seen it in my own career. This is what happens when you network.
Oh, yeah. There's no question of that. And I mean, and anybody's going to do this. In the real world of business, you do this. Like when I left to take a management job, I hire people that I trust. I hire people that I know who I am, know the direction I want to go, who has my back, who can help change a culture when you go into a new organization. So for what Kyle Whittingham is doing is no different than any human does, particularly if you're in a management-type situation. So, I mean, I know Michigan very well. I worked in Detroit multiple times there as well, particularly early in my career. I've been on the sideline like PK is in games, sitting on the sideline at Michigan games, covering that team. So I know what that organization is like. And I also know it closely because I follow the team closely because my daughter went to the University of Michigan. So when Kyle Whittingham got this job, which you guys actually are lobbying about, I think the last time I talked to both of you a few weeks ago, this doesn't shock me or surprise me at all. And look, fans are emotional. I get it. They're attached to their program. They're attached to their team. They're attached to a coach who has been there 21 years. They took him at his word that, hey, I'm leaving this program in a great spot. They had a coach in waiting in Morgan Scalley. I understand why they're hurt by all this, but I'm sorry, exactly what you said. And this is where fans have to step in. And believe me, I'm guilty as anybody when it comes to being a fan. When you get really emotional, there's no loyalty anymore. It is a business. So when Kyle Whittingham gets pushed out, which he did, slightly pushed, but he, in his mind, right or wrong, he felt like he needed to step down. And obviously, he wasn't ready to stop coaching because now he has a full-time job again. Well, when he got that job, what's he going to do? He is going to take his people with him, and particularly in a scenario like Michigan. Michigan's a mess right now. I mean, you had Sharon Moore. Obviously, you had the cheating scandal, all that. Whatever, they won a title. Harbaugh leaves. Guess what Harbaugh does, by the way, when he leaves? He takes some of the coaches with him to San Diego, or not San Diego anymore, the L.A. Chargers. And then so Kyle Whittingham gets a Michigan job. Michigan's a mess. I mean, the athletic department, he gets hired, by the way, by an athletic director whose entire athletic department is being investigated right now by its own university. So it's not like Kyle is walking into this secure situation where he knows who his boss is going to be, because his boss could be fired tomorrow. I think the president there is an interim president at this point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a secure situation. So how do you make it a secure situation if you're Kyle Whittingham walking into what is one of the blue bloods, one of the top programs in the country, one probably if you ask anybody, name 3 college football programs, the best programs in history, Michigan is probably one of those 3, or at least one of the most recognizable, along with Notre Dame, maybe Bama, whoever else you want to throw out there. Well, he needs to secure himself. Well, he needs to do what he does best, and that's coach and win. Because ultimately, the only way you're going to keep your job at a place like Michigan is you have to win games. You have to beat Ohio State regularly. You have to now go and win Big Ten titles. You now have to get to the playoff every year. That's the expectations. So naturally, what is he going to do? He's going to bring the coaches that he trusts, that he empowers, that he knows has his back. They know what he wants to instill. They know how he ticks. They know his work ethic. They know what to expect. So that's what he's going to do. It's not uncommon. Every coach does it. It's just the way it works. Where it hurts is I think Utah fans thought that Kyle Whittingham would be done. They thought there'd be a smooth transition, that Scally will move right in, no coaches would leave, and they would just keep kind of going along the same route they're doing. Well, that didn't happen. And I'm sorry, it's a fact of life. There is no loyalty in college sports anymore. It sucks. Coaches are going to move when they have better opportunities. Players are going to move, as we're noticing right now. What would you say, DJ? Like 1,000 players in the portal already that want to leave? Yeah, I mean, it's changed. It sucks. I miss the old days where players would be there for 4 years and coaches would be there for 20 years. Well, it's just not going to happen anymore. And then you've got to look at it from the assistant perspective, and you guys have harped on this all morning, and you're 100% right. If you are an assistant coach, you have to do what's best by you and your family. Well, sorry again to Utah and BYU, and I love both those schools, and they're great programs, and I'm hopeful for both of them to just continue to roll along like they are. But the reality is Michigan's better. Michigan's bigger. Michigan's a high-profile program. You are Jason Beck, and you get a chance to be offensive coordinator at the University of Michigan. You know what? Even if you don't win enough and you end up getting fired, you still have University of Michigan on your resume, and that's going to carry a ton. You're always going to be employed. And if you're Jason Beck and Jay Hill, for that matter, leaving BYU, Whittingham, you look at him and you think he can coach for another 20 years. He's not. He's probably going to be there at least 5 maybe, and that's only if he wins. So then who could be the successor? Well, now if you're Jay Hill or if you're Jason Beck, you have an opportunity to be the coordinators, the 2 top dogs right under the head coach. You 2 could be the candidates to become the next coach at the University of Michigan, which probably pays a lot more money than Utah and BYU too. So you're 100% right, DJ. Real world is infiltrated college sports, at least when it comes to the hiring processes and the lack of loyalty, and everybody's a free agent whenever they want to be. That's just the fact of life. It sucks. You got to deal with it. And now if you're a Utah fan, you have to be you have to put faith in the people that are there. And I from what I get a sense on my X account after I posted some thoughts on all this, they don't have a lot of hope in their athletic director, Mark Harlan. Well, you know what? That's on you guys to hold him accountable. Morgan Scally, we'll see. But Morgan's a smart guy. I have to think that, because any coach networks. So I have to think that he has a Rolodex. That's an old school way to look at it. But his contact list on his phone has a ton of coaches in there, people that he's run to in conventions, people that he knows, people that are smaller schools that could be possibilities. You just have to have faith that Morgan Scally can bring his staff in. And for Morgan, this is actually not a terrible thing, because now he could put his stamp on the program. Suddenly he's not just always going to be in Kyle Whittingham's shadow. He's the man now, and he can now actually implement an offense to whatever offense he wants to implement to beat his system. So you just got to give it a chance. And unfortunately, I think this is going to continue to happen. And another thing, too, and I know, again, as an emotional fan, it's hard to look through this, but congratulations. I mean, the fact that you have a Whittingham that's now at one of the top programs, the fact you had Kalani Sitake was about to become the coach in another blue blood program in Penn State, you know what that means? That means you're having a heck of a lot of success. So have the success. Hope you have a lot of donors that have a lot of money to keep throwing money at these coaches and players to stay. And you know what? You just keep rolling and try to win the Big 12 every year and get into the damn playoff. That's the goal.
Wow. That was a statement right there, man. That was impressive. As somebody who is a bag of wind myself, I can appreciate that. And you have that connection to Michigan. You know, I've followed the programs. My wife's family grew up there, been back there a few times and all that. But I don't even think you need to do that to understand the magnitude of Michigan. And we've talked about that. Oh, in Utah, I always said that some of these places that it's best that you get a man, a woman, whatever the sport is, that knows the area, that knows the landscape, that knows the people. And we've seen when Utah, and I'm not speaking just to the U of U, I'm talking about the state, the institutions, when they do that, that tends to help. When Gary Anderson went up to Logan, he turned that thing around because he knew about the people of Utah. This guy's a Utah guy. With Michigan, most of these guys are not going to be Michigan people, but do you think that really matters? Because Michigan is a brand unto itself, and it basically recruits from Maine to San Diego and from Seattle to Miami, and who cares what you are, Michigan is a brand so big that it doesn't matter? Or do you think that they need some type of local or at least regional connection?
Oh, I think he's going to hire somebody, or at least a couple coaches or people in the recruiting office or the administration or at least in his hierarchy of the football coaching administration, that has a knowledge of at least the state, has a knowledge of the Big Ten. I mean, it is a different conference. I mean, Whittingham, the media is a lot more critical. The spotlight is going to be on there, so he's going to have to figure out how to make sure he can navigate through all that. But to your point, being Michigan, look, every kid in the state of Michigan wants to play for Michigan. I mean, it's just a fact. And every kid that doesn't get into Michigan, if they stay in state, they're going to Michigan State, or they're going to Central Michigan, my former school, or Western or Eastern, if they're not a quality or power quality player, power conference quality player. So I think it's key that you'll have a few people there. But honestly, I think his biggest battle, PK, is within that administration, because with the Harbaugh years, the way that ended up and how turbulent that was, and then obviously Sherrone Moore is a complete disaster the way that finished up. There's a mess going on. I mean, you have an athletic department that's being investigated. You have an AD there that's on the hot seat and may not be there. So for him, he's got to make sure that he has people that has his back to navigate. And he has to have the ability to work the politics, which for Whittingham, I don't think that's his game. I mean, he's a coach, and ultimately and like I said in the rant, ultimately him winning is what's going to keep him secure and keep his job. But he can't let the regents, he can't let the boosters, he can't let the parents of Bryce Underwood or other high-profile players are getting millions of dollars. He has to keep that kind of under control because, unfortunately for college football's sake, and again, I'm amazed that people even want to be a college football coach anymore. I mean, you've got to navigate all that stuff. I mean, everybody seems to have a piece of the pie or thinks they have a piece of the pie. So somehow he's going to have to kind of work his way through that. And the best way to do it, again, at least with the players and their families, is to have coaches he can trust, that they're great communicators. All these guys obviously are great coaches, good coaches, been there a while, or at least had experience like a Beck that's bounced to different programs. They have the ability to do that. And then as for the administration standpoint, again, the best way to shut them up is just win. And so he's got to kind of close. It's a weird scenario because he's got to close the ranks around him in some ways. But at the same time, he's got to have some people to help him play the political game to keep the regents and the boosters and all those people that feel like they think they have a voice in the program, to keep them away from the actual team per se, so he can put the product on the field to keep his job and be secure.
Now that you've watched all these games, you got any idea who's going to win out of the last 4 teams standing in college football?
Indiana. I mean, at least, I don't think you can argue that they were the most impressive so far. The way they just dominate Alabama. And, Alabama, that just proved to me that Alabama didn't deserve to. I mean, Notre Dame deserved it just as much as Bama to be in that playoff. But Indiana's good. I mean, and again, talking to a guy that spent a lot of years in the Midwest when I was younger and then worked there and all that and followed the Big Ten pretty closely. I mean, it's just, to me, it's still amazing to sit there and look at Indiana and say, wow, they're the best team in college football. It's Indiana. Like that was an easy W on Michigan and Michigan State's schedule every year, it seemed like. So, but I do think they're impressive. Their coach is impressive. They just seem to be the dominant team. And if I had to guess, I would say Miami, Florida. They just, Ole Miss has got a good run, and I think a lot of people, they're kind of their kind of sentimental pick just because everything happened with Lane Kiffin leaving and all that. But they're a mess again because now there's assistant coaches that are actually contractually obligated to coach at LSU that LSU let them go back to coach at Ole Miss. Well, now with the portal, Kiffin wants his coaches back with him. So now there's questions of whether these coaches are going to be able to even coach in the next game. So that could be an issue for Ole Miss. And then and Miami, Florida's got a lot of athletes. I think they're a little underrated, and I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to them because they were on TV every week, but they're coming out of the ACC, so no one really gave them a shot. So I wouldn't be surprised we have like a Miami Indiana championship game, and then I'll be interested to see how that one plays out.
What do you think Whittingham leaving does to his legacy at Utah?
It shouldn't do anything. I mean, seriously. I mean. It's a short-term pain because, but I mean, come on, everybody, and look, and PK, I used to argue this all the time. I was one of Whittingham's biggest critics from a standpoint that he can never figure out the offense. Well, this year he did. He finally found an offensive coordinator, and it seemed like let him coach to the offense the way he needed to coach. And I mean, come on, 21 years, and look what he accomplished. I mean, look what he accomplished from a Mountain West Conference standpoint and being number 2. What was that year with Brian Johnson, the quarterback? Obviously, I was there at that time when they won the Sugar Bowl and was number 2 in the country. How he took the program after Urban Meyer left, and kept the program going, and in fact, some ways, kept it even at a higher level at times. Look how he transitioned into the power conference with the Pac-12, and some initial struggles, but BYU just went through that with the Big 12. I mean, that just happens when you do that. And guess what? Next thing you know, he's winning Pac-12 championships. Look what he goes in the Big 12. Yeah, last year was not a good year for him, but look what he did this year. They flipped it around. I mean, no. I mean, I think it's like anything these days. Everybody has an outroar. Everyone gets mad. Everyone gets ticked off. They're calling him Judas, is what I saw on my timeline. I'm like, give me a break. I mean, geez. Let's compare him to Judas. All right, give me a break. So anyway, I think there's a little difference of a guy turning over Jesus to be killed and Kyle Whittingham going to Michigan. All right. And I'm not even that religious.
Which one's worse?
So, yeah, exactly. I mean, pipe down, everybody. It sucks. Hope that Morgan Scalley does the same thing Whittingham did when Whittingham took over from Urban and puts his team together and does his thing. And you know what? And then 10 years from now or whenever Whittingham hangs it up at Michigan or gets fired, because you never know, you know what? Put the statue up for him and appreciate him and be appreciative for at least what he put. I mean, every week you had a chance to win, I would say 90% of the time, or 95% of the time. So be thankful for that. So I think his legacy will be fine once everyone calms down, especially if Morgan Scalley could get out there and if Utah continues their winning ways, then I think everything will ease off.
I don't think the loyalty was just lost recently. I mean, it was more than a decade ago that Kyle had his job threatened, that Kalani couldn't get his extension. A-Rod got fired. It's like right here in this very place where there is legitimately so much family and all these relationships and people have known each other. It's been happening here, despite all those relationships, for a long time. This is nothing new. But in the heat of the moment, it feels, I guess it hits harder, because we're all in the moment. And we're all told to live in the moment, so I guess we shouldn't even be criticizing the people who are living in the moment.
No, that's true. I mean, And times have changed. I mean, if you think about it, if Whittingham would have made this move, 15 years ago or whatever, before they went to the Pac-12, everybody would be really happy for him, much like when Urban left to go to Florida. So, I mean, but now it's, everybody freaks out. And that's just the world we're in now. Everybody just overreacts, including myself, to everything. And so it's kind of like, okay. But this is why Morgan Scalley was named as the coach in waiting. I mean, this was going to happen eventually, and again, the twist is Whittingham leaving and taking basically the entire offensive staff with him. But you know what? It's the reality of college football, and that's just this is not uncommon in any program. When a coach leaves, he's going to take some of his guys with him, including players too. I'll be curious to see, what Utah players are in the portal and who ends up suddenly, wearing the maize and blue next year. And that's a reality too. And you know what? Even if Whittingham stayed, Utah players would be leaving. And if they had, and no offense, if Utah players had a chance to go play at the University of Michigan, whether Whit was there or not, those players would go to play at the University of Michigan, because that's just the fact of the matter, and that's just the way it is in our college football landscape right now.
Well, with you being a Detroit guy, is it more about Bob Seger or Kid Rock?
Well, me, it's Kid Rock, but Kid Rock and Bob Seger are very good friends, so I'm happy about that. But it's definitely Bob Seger. I mean, he's a legend, man. He's got a road named after him there in Detroit and the whole deal. So, yeah. So I regret I never got to see Bob Seger in concert. I always wanted to see him.
Didn't?
And I think he's retired again. No, I think he retired. I've seen Kid Rock about 25 times, but Seger I have not been able to see yet. So, and I don't think I ever will.
Retirement tour, I saw him 3 times.
Did you really? Did you?
Yeah, it was once I had seats in a show in Vegas, and my sister calls me up and says, in Phoenix, he says, let's go to Seger. I said, well, I've already got tickets to see him in Vegas, and this is in March, and the concert was in February. She says to me, you idiot, it's Seger, it's February, it's Phoenix. You will come here. And she's my older sister, and I've done everything she's told me to do. So I saw him there, and then 3 weeks later I saw him in Vegas. And the funny thing was the people next to me were from Salt Lake, and they recognized me, and they wanted a picture after the show. And so my wife got in the picture, and afterwards she says, why was I in the picture, and why did the guy's wife take the picture? I should have taken the picture. How stupid was that? But we got caught up in the moment. And then in the fall, he came to Salt Lake. So in the manner of 6 months, I saw him 3 times, and each show was awesome.
Yeah. Wow. And you know what? And the best part of that story is somebody got a picture with you, and that in itself is an amazing thing.
Or they got a picture with my wife, and she felt foolish afterward.
And that picture is some Salt Lakers home right now. That picture is blown up and it's above the fireplace mantle. It's a big portrait.
I think it was put in the fireplace.
Oh man, that's good. I wish I would have saw Seger. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Good
Kyle's met him. Kyle has met it because I've talked to Kyle. He has met Seger, and I have a feeling he's going to be meeting him again because Seger's a big sports fan, and he gets around up there in that area. He is, as you say, a true legend of that area.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Good for him. Whittingham's going to be on a different level. It'll be curious to see how he handles that kind of spotlight. It's he's been on the national spotlight at times, obviously when Utah's been really good, but I mean, that spotlight is shining bright every single day, more so than even in Salt Lake City and all the crazy media and, you guys and everybody else that are watching every move. In Michigan, double or triple the amount of people, at least, that are going to keep an eye on that. So, so I'll be curious to see how he handles that.
Well, there's bigger populations, so there ought to be more people looking, right? Plus,
Well, you would think
plus
so.
then you got, basically they think they invented football. I know Notre Dame does, but so does,
It's true. There's. I'm not going to lie, and you can hear this. I'm sure some Utah fans are listening. Going, God, this is arrogant. Michigan. Well, you're right. It is. Yeah. I mean, there's an arrogance level that's there. I mean, and academically, it's arrogant. I mean, it's one of the top schools. Like, I obviously I didn't even try to get in
the country. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was fortunate to have a daughter to go there, and trust me, she's doing very well right now. So I mean, yeah, you go there, whether it's academia or whether it's sports, and not just football. I mean, basketball is huge, hockey, women's sports are big, and they're always competing. Kind of like Stanford, they're really good in a lot of the Olympic sports as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different world. It really is. I mean, and quite frankly, and I was there last week for Christmas, because the weather sucks so bad. I mean, that's why they're so, like I always thought with Utah, like great sports fans, but you know what? You got a lot to do there, and the sun shines and it's beautiful and you're diehard into it. But if your team's not great, yeah, that sucks, but you can still be happy and enjoy your life. Well, in Michigan, you can't because it's freaking gray and freezing rain and cold and everyone's miserable. And so, yeah, all their,
I wonder why you live there.
Exactly. All their anger focuses directly on their sports. Like, I mean, it's just, and I will say, and I've always proclaimed this, and maybe I've told you guys this or not, but, in all the markets I worked at, when people have asked me what's the best sports market, I always have to say it's Detroit, and only because from a sports radio or media coverage standpoint, it's one of the few markets in the country that fans are passionate about all four major pro sports, including hockey. I mean, they call it Hockey Town for a reason. Now the Red Wings are good again, so there's definitely a major upswing of hockey fans back in Detroit. Tigers, Lions, Pistons are better now, obviously, and one of the best teams in the NBA. But it's also one of the only markets that care about the college scene, not just Michigan, but there's a huge contingent of Michigan State alums, too. I mean, you're talking about two schools that have 50,000-plus students enrolled there. So you have graduates that stay in the Detroit area from those schools. So it's a passionate sports town, man. And any day you can turn on sports radio, and it could be whoever they're talking about that day. I mean, it could be a Monday after a Lions game, and they could be talking about Michigan if Michigan blew a game on Saturday. I mean, it's pretty passionate, and again, I think Witt's at the pinnacle. He's got a chance to close out his career, maybe with a national championship or at least a program that gives him a better shot at it, and it could be great, but it also can go haywire too on you if you don't win.
Kevin, we'll leave it right there. We appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Hey, always love talking to you guys. Here's to a much better 2026 and 2025. And I'm surprised you guys are working on the Friday after New Year's. I mean, you guys have been on the air for 50 years. You think you'd be able to get this day off? What's going on with you two?
Apparently not, man. Plus, this is fun. There's so much.
New agent.
There's so much to talk about. Let's go.
That's true. That's true. All right. See you guys.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. David Locke at the top of the hour. More football next.